Good evening and สวัสดีครับ Welcome to Thai PBS World. I'm Thep Chayong.
Yes, good evening. I'm Natha Gomonwatin. We are meeting you every Thursday for Thai PBS World on Facebook Live. Any comments, any questions are very welcome.
So every Thursday evening we give you an insight into all the major events of the week. And for the first time in weeks, as far as news is concerned, politicians have to make way for some of those who are in power.
Yes.
And one of those who have been stealing the headlines from politicians the past 1 week is none other than General Prayut Chan-o-cha, the Prime Minister. In fact, what he is doing is nothing out of the ordinary.
Yeah.
He embraces social media.
You mean it's not surprising at all that he
It should be a big
finally
deal.
joined social media officially?
Being General Prayut, and now is embracing social media is something big because he's someone who is not seen as being a fan of hearing criticism, either online or offline.
Yes.
So the fact that he's now starting his own social world, social media world, right?
Yes.
He now has a website, a Facebook, a Twitter, and Instagram.
On every social media channels, and so suddenly he's also have a big group of fans who have been following him. So let's check on the platform that he's been using on social media. Let's begin with Facebook.
In fact, he is simply following in the footsteps of many politicians who have their own social media platforms already, right?
Yes, and he has got fans or followers more than 250,000 in 3 or 4 days, which is very fast.
So the launch of his social media platforms followed speculation as to what his political future will be. And he has been saying that he is interested in politics. So the launch of the social media platform is being seen as a sort of a confirmation in a way that he is very interested in politics.
Yes, so it's only the question of timing when he will formally or officially announce that he will join in election or in politics.
You look at this page, it's made about his biography, but to me, it looks more like a biography of someone who's running for office. It talks about General Prayut's dreams since childhood to serve the country. It talks about his loyalty to the major institutions in the country and his commitment to serve the country. So basically something that someone who's running for office would want to promote himself with.
Perhaps some questions are being raised whether it's appropriate at this very juncture because NCPO doesn't allow other parties to do any activity, especially on social media. But the Prime Minister has launched his own social media channels.
He insists that this is nothing to do with politics. It's just another channel for him to communicate with the people. In fact, I think it's quite interesting in a way that for the first time he is open to hearing criticisms. Right? We all know that he's someone who doesn't brook criticism, right? But this is the first time he will be hearing complaints, something he doesn't want to hear online now. And as the Prime Minister, and now with in the social media, he should be ready to face both bouquets and brickbats.
And he already said that he would like to answer every questions, every comments he got on the social media. And I see someone teach him that perhaps he will have to spend like years and years to cover in responding to all the questions. Let's take a look at some of the comments on his Facebook fan page, which is very interesting because it seems like people from all walks of life have their own comments about his post.
No, it's quite clear that he's still a center of attention of people. Whether you like him or not, he still commands attention from many quarters of the society.
In some comments, he got best wishes from people, like for him to have best of luck in his visit to Belgium. This is his latest post, why before he is now visiting Belgium.
This picture is quite interesting. It's one of the rare moments that you don't see, in normal circumstances, because Kun Prayut, even though he's Prime Minister, he's very, when it comes to his private life, he doesn't really want to be seen, doing things outside his official, duty. So his picture this photo, I mean, historical photo showing him working
Yeah.
in a very an off-guard mood. I mean, it's something quite new to us. I mean.
So and he is the latest leader of ASEAN who has joined social media officially. So it would be very interesting to see his post, his comment from now on. Especially he said he will do Facebook Live.
That's right.
In the very near future.
Okay. So one other person who has stolen headlines from politicians this week is the new army chief,
Yes.
General Apirat Kongsompong. And his remarks yesterday about something that people very, want to either forget or to expect that would happen again. It's quite startling to many people. So he was giving an interview yesterday after he had a meeting with members of the units under the army. And at one point he was asked about, the role of the army. And then one question that, of course, many people who certainly would want to ask him popped up. It was whether he believed that another military coup was possible in the future. And just look at his answer.
Yeah. Let's listen to what he has to say.
No, he said he basically he was answering a question, and the reporter asked him whether another coup is possible in the future, and his answer is very, very interesting. He said he hopes that the country will not be dragged into another round of political conflicts, and he said that if there is no chaos, then nothing will happen. So his meaning is that if there's no chaos, no people on the streets, no violence, then another coup is unlikely. No, but of course, his remarks are being taken by politicians as a threat.
Yeah.
And of course, but today, the Deputy Prime Minister, General Pravit Wongsuwan, and who is in charge of security affairs, try to play down, General Apirat's remarks, saying that he was only giving up a reminder, nothing more than that.
Yes, but at this very moment, perhaps people will just read between the lines, the meanings of whatever the military commander are saying, especially when he mentioned military direction is smart man, smart soldier, and smart army.
Okay, next week, Thailand will have a chance to welcome a very, very VIP visitor.
Prime Minister of Malaysia, Dr. Mahathir Mohamad. Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, Prime Minister of Malaysia, is visiting Thailand on October 24th and 25th.
And of course, one of the items on the agenda of this visit will be a talk with General Prayut Chan-o-cha, our Prime Minister, on the problem of insurgency in southern Thailand. And Mahathir has expressed strong interest in helping Thailand resolve the problem down there. In fact, he is no stranger to this issue, because in the year 2005, only 2 years after he stepped down from office, he helped arrange a series of meetings on Langkawi Island in Malaysia between the members of Puro, insurgency groups and Thai authorities. He did try, but of course the talks didn't really, come through, because people say that he happened to be talking to wrong people, because those representing the Puro were mostly aging former leaders of the group who had no control on the new generation of insurgents active on the ground.
Yes, so the issue of peace talks would be on the top of agenda, perhaps in meeting with our Prime Minister, General Prayut Chan-o-cha. And let's take a look at the name of the facilitator appointed by Malaysia government concerning Southern Thailand peace talks. Because
so his visit will come amidst changes of people dealing with the peace process. On the side of Thailand, there'll be a change of guard. General Aksara Kertpon was the leader of the Thai team that engaged in the peace talks. And now the new team leader will be General Udomchai Thammasarot.
Yes. And let's take a look at Malaysia's side, because under the leadership of Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad, he just announced the new facilitator of Malaysia, changing from Datuk Seri Ahmad Samsamin to Tan Sri Abdul Rahim Noor.
This will be a very interesting change indeed, because
Yes.
Tan Sri Abdul Rahim Noor, I mean, besides his reputation involving his spat with the former Deputy Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim, the black eye scandal.
Yes.
He was quite well versed in the issue of the issue of southern problem on southern Thai border. He was quite involved in the talks that finally led to the dissolution of the Communist Party of Malaya. So by reviving his role this time around, I think Mahathir must have seen something in him that he believes that will be able to contribute to the peace process.
Yes, and the new facilitator probably will be coming along with Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad, and we have to see what he is going to say next week. Now let's take a look at what Dr. Mahathir Mohamad have told Kun Suthichay-yun in the exclusive interview regarding the peace talk in southern part of Thailand.
Malaysia and Thailand, because many years ago you helped Thailand to organize this peace talk with the southern activists, or whatever you call it, and then it has proceeded until today. I think they're still talking. What do you think will happen now that you are in charge again?
Well, we will continue to try and resolve this problem in southern Thailand. The only problem is that the people there are not represented by one body. There are so many different bodies, each acting on its own. So talking with any one of them will not result in the others accepting the resolution that we suggest. So it is a long-drawn process. We practically have to meet all the different factions in the south.
Do you think that you can help accelerate the process?
Well, we think we can. Part of the thing, of course, is that the south is very poor.
Yes.
And the people are very poor, and poor people naturally don't value their life, and they do things which people with some assets would not do. So I think one of the important things is to give them some hope for the future.
Yes.
So towards that end, we had before suggested we bring some of them to Malaysia for education. But that is there's something that we can enhance.
Yes.
Perhaps add more people.
But would Malaysia serve as the sort of middleman, sort of the facilitator, or more than just facilitator? Maybe you can help the negotiations.
Well, we would be felicitator in the first place, but if there is a group that we can talk to, we would like to help negotiate for them and advise them.
But you think Malaysia under you now can step up that effort?
We would like to, but currently we are all extremely busy in Malaysia.
And what should be expected from official visit of Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, Prime Minister of Malaysia, especially on southern Thailand peace talks? Let's listen live with Professor Dr. Panitan Wattanayagorn, advisor to Deputy Prime Minister on Security. He is now with us in the studio. สวัสดีค่ะ Next week is going to be big moment for Thailand on peace process.
Certainly, I think Malaysia is one of the very important neighbors, especially in terms of peace and stability in the south. I think no doubt, I think we need Malaysia to be working closely with Thailand. Of course, as a facilitator, we expect Malaysia to do more under the leadership of Prime Minister Mahathir. I think Prime Minister Mahathir knows the situation very well. 22 years in office last time, and very important role that he played, and groundwork that he laid in principles that should also remain intact. He, of course, not supporting the separation of the South. It's very clear. He thinks that this is an internal problems of Thailand, and he thinks that any group should not seek sanctuaries in Malaysia to attack Thailand. I think these are the principles that may not change.
So we are pleased with all the principles that Mahathir is standing by. And listening to the interview earlier, it's very clear that he's very eager, more eager probably this time around to help Thailand resolve the issue. But what specifically will be on the agenda when this issue comes up? So what do you expect? I mean, expect any new ideas from him this time?
Well, I think certainly this visit will bring Thailand and Malaysia closer. Of course, in the past few years, we have changed so many governments. In the last administration of Prime Minister Najib, we have 3 or 4 governments. And of course, a lot of focus in the internal politics of both countries. So this is the first opportunity to reconnect after so many decades that we have not worked closely. I think that's we expect to get the overall better messages to the world and to the people in the South that Thailand and Malaysia will work much closer. Secondly, in terms of the conflict in the South, certainly we think that the team that Prime Minister Mahathir is bringing back will bring the own knowledge that will be very useful to deliver a next step of the peace talk. The next step of the peace talk is very critical. We have spent 4 or 5 years building up trust, getting to know each other. We have what we call Party B, including 2 or 3 more joining. Some people could call Mala Patani plus 3. Now we are looking forward to resume the talk. We are now in the process of putting together a team. We also, I think the Thai government is looking forward to work with various groups in preparing for the next level. The next level will be very critical. I think both countries should agree to deliver something concrete, something more tangible.
Overall, is it disruption of the policy of Malaysia side, especially they have been facilitator for many years? Is this disruption of their side or continuation?
Well, I don't think it's a disruption or discontinuation, but the talk is not easy. I think Thailand has overcome the obstacles of the talk. For us, I think we are now ready to move forward. For Malaysia, I think Malaysian politics, which of course understandable, may have some impacts on this, and also the complication of the role of Malaysia are now changing. The strategic new map in Malaysia is now created a new opportunity, new window of opportunity. This window may close in the next few years. So we need to take, I think both sides are now realizing that we need to take this opportunity to push for more success. I think the key success will be on many fronts, on delivering peace and stability on the areas. We need to see more peaceful situation on the ground. We may need to see more participation of various groups. Expectedly, not all groups are joined in the last few years. We expect more participation, and we hope, the Thai people hope that Malaysia, with the new commitment, can bring new parties, which is of course all parties to the talk, and step by step. Once we are connected, Thailand will listen. We will listen. The Thai public will listen more, listening intensely on what parties on the ground really want. Personally, I think they are very concerned about their own identity. I think we need to work hard on this issue.
So it looks like the key to the next level of the talks will be how to expand the scope of the talk to include more key players in the process. Is that the approach that Thailand and Malaysia will be taking?
Well, that is to be expected, but then it again depends on the comfort level of more groups joining. We have to talk to all groups. Some of them may not be comfortable to have more. We may have to think of new innovative ways of how to include more without creating discomfort.
Okay.
Maybe 3 is too crowded, 4 is too crowded. But I think for us, ASEAN way, more is better than less. So Thailand and Malaysia must come up with new innovative ways to include more without discomfort others.
You were talking earlier about how Prime Minister Mahathir is bringing in some of the old hands, some of those with experience in the talks in the South, dating back to the CPM era, right?
Yes.
You must be referring specifically to at least Mr. Abdul Rahim Noor, the former Inspector General of Malaysian Police. And he's a new guy, in this game. So do you think he will take a different approach from his predecessors, Zamsamin, or do you think he will just follow what have already been done?
Well, I think the situation have changed so much, 30 years from the peace talk that Malaysia signed with CPM. We supported that in Phuket, and of course all generals on our side still remember that, General Kitti, Ratana Chaya, General Akanit, and many others who worked behind that. Remember well the commitment of Tan Sri Mohammed Noor. He's very instrumental. His energy, his commitment is very clear. He'll bring that energy commitment to this round, which is going to be admittedly more complicated. It is not exactly the same formula, but the same person. And surprisingly, in the mid-70s, he's more committed. He has more energy, and he has more clear idea. And this can happen because as you go along in life, you can see things more clearly. And I think I sense that this is he wants to do. This is why Prime Minister Mahathir picked him. But he needs more cooperation on the ground. He needs more cooperation with Thailand. And we see a good team that he's putting. Special team that he's putting from special brands, from different people from National Security Council. I think we are quite positive, and our reaction is very hopeful.
Has there been any communication between Thai authorities and Rahim Noor after his appointment as the facilitator?
I think we always communicate to our neighbor. We have exchanges.
So you have a sense of what he's going to do, at least?
We have to prepare. We have to prepare for the big meeting. And we have worked around the clock to make sure that the visits of the two prime ministers will be successful.
What about the changing of Thai team, the change of the chief of Thai team?
It's not exactly changing because the Aksara will be, as I understand, by Deputy Prime Minister Pravit. He mentioned that Aksara will be nominated to Prime Minister as an advisor to the new team. But the new team on the ground will lead by a very experienced general, General Udom Chai, who has many good team on the ground. We also have changes in SBPAC, a special administration body. We have now a very good experienced person as a caretaker of the director. So Thailand certainly also have a very good team at hand. Admittedly that we are now moving into the transition period. In the next few months, I think we will move into the elections. So I think timing is critical for the team to really get things moving.
So it really depends on timing, on how they are going to get along and set timeline of the next round of talk.
They need to come up with a roadmap with a clear timeline. They need to have an item that can be delivered as we move along in the next few months and maybe a year or two, as you mentioned earlier in the program. You cannot be loosely like in the past a few years that you had time to getting to know each other. Now we got to know each other. Now we need to really deliver. most important thing is people are still injured or dying,
being hurt.
Although much less. We have passed the peak period, and I think the reduction of 40 to 50% of the incidents and violence is much more than that. It is successful. On one hand, the troops are now being removed from the area. Money are now being channeled back to the development projects. 50 NGOs, IGOs are working on the ground peacefully. We need to capture this success and turn into a political success. And this is important leg or stage to move into. You cannot play around anymore. I think that's the message.
So you're saying that the situation on the ground today is more conducive to the peace talk than it was, a few years back, right?
Thanks to many organizations, people, previous governments that have worked very hard to initiate, many new things on the ground. Not only peace talk. This realizing there's a new structure of coordinating steering body of the 50 agencies, 22 ministries on the ground. There's a new body. SBPAC is now moving in cooperation with the ISOC. So when you look at these all changes, the logical thing is to move things to the next step, to tackle even a higher hanging fruits rather than lower hanging fruits that we have done in the past few years.
Be more ambitious.
Yes, of course, and be more specific. The specific thing is to see the real stop violence in certain areas, see real new participation, new faces, which some of them are old, but some of them are also just move into the new organization, on some of the groups on the ground. But we need to work hard also on the legal issues and also on the up and coming election in the South. The South will see a new parties, new platform, and new eagerness of the people participating in this open politics. Judging from the national referendum a few months ago, a few years ago, we sense that the Thai people, the Southerners, are ready to resume their political life.
So the key to the success is to have more parties, more stakeholders involving in the peace process. Like you say from the very beginning that the more the merrier, the bigger the better.
Well, I think yes, certainly that's one of the critical factor. But the real key to me is to listen intensely for the first time, frank talk, and commitment to move things. Although we know that all parties want peace. No one wants to be injured or die. But how to deliver this? From the talk in the last few years, including those parties that are not coming to the talk, they indicated that they really do not want violence. The violence also affecting the real people on the ground, especially Thai Muslims are the most very clear victims on the ground. So the key success will be, of course, more participation, more effectiveness in terms of facilitator, more commitment on our side, especially listening and also accommodating and a new team. There are a few more other, and of course at the top level, prime ministers and their team must be committed and also encourage this in the next few months to the new ground, to the higher ground.
So coming back to Prime Minister Mahathir's visit to Thailand next week, Thailand is now more hopeful. Malaysia is more willing to help. Things on the ground are improving. So what do you expect to be the outcome of Prime Minister Mahathir's visit? The best outcome that we should expect from it.
Well, of course, we should expect a much better
commitment,
much better feelings coming out from the meeting that now we are really, holding hands together to move in a much closer way in many areas, not only in the South, in trade, in ASEAN, and that next year will be a share of ASEAN. There are a lot more difficult issues.
So it's very important that two prime ministers sit together and declare that they have the intention to jointly tackle the problem in the south.
That's one. That's one general commitment in difficult issues, from regional issues to bilateral issues. Secondly, of course, highlight is trade. The south. There are 2 or 3 main issues. We also have standing issues on border management, on dual nationalities people, and also this talk among the key issues, and also the rising concerns of the foreign returnees from the Middle East, the rising of the extremists, in many countries, including in Indonesia and Malaysia. Thailand can help, although we are not affected directly. So far, there's no real Thai persons joining the wars in Iraq and Syria, but there are people coming from other countries, and those countries need Thailand help in terms of sorting out and helping in terms of keeping their eyes on this. So these are the new issues that we can work.
So this is a new area of mutual concern between Thailand and Malaysia now.
Exactly. This is why the strategic map, strategic have changed from domestic to the international and regional, and it created an open window of opportunity for us to cooperate the way that never before existed. And this is surprising to many of us, but for us, we anticipated this change for years. Now it's coming, it's in your hands, and what to do with it. But of course, interestingly, that this government is leaving office. So the timing is so critical.
On the issue of Rohingya, we see how outspoken of Dr. Mahathir is from his home in Malaysia and in UN convention. Do you expect that he will bring up this issue in discussion with Prime Minister Prayut? And what should be the line of the Thai
government? He may
government?
try to convince ASEAN to take a stand on this.
This issue is already in ASEAN, and we expect ASEAN leaders, they are now in Europe, will talk about this and exchange on this with Thailand. In November, at the summit, we expect ASEAN leaders to really concluding this and pass on the issue to us to be the share next year. And not only this issue, also issues like Uyghurs that Malaysia is just releasing. These people are just running away from Thailand. I think these are the issues that we need to work closer with Malaysia. Thanks to Malaysia, understanding and their openness in terms of these issues that can help ASEAN and Thailand to handle this issue successfully. It's a very complicated issue. Malaysia has a good standing in the Muslim world. It is very active. It is very active in United Nations and OIC. And this partnership with Thailand will help Thailand to communicate to OIC, to Muslim world on these difficult issues.
Do you think this issue will put Thailand in very difficult situation next year as we are taking chairmanship of ASEAN next year?
No, I think it's a challenge that we accept. I think Thailand needs to tackle this issue. I think Prime Minister Prayut and the new Prime Minister, whoever will be, will have to face these issues. And I think it's time that ASEAN rise to the challenges like this, because this issue will affect people on the ground. So I think Thailand is ready after stability in the last few years. I think now we have moved back into the international era where standing issues, as you know very well, are very, very difficult.
So coming back to the issue of southern Thailand, are we looking at the role of Malaysia beyond that of facilitator? Do we expect Malaysia to play a role bigger than just being facilitator? Because in an interview we just saw, when Mahathir was asked whether Malaysia could play a bigger role in this, he said Malaysia is willing, happy to play any role that Thailand sees fit. So.
Well, Malaysia's aims, I think, is to bring peace and stability under the leadership of Prime Minister Mahathir. I think it will be his legacy, it will be his very important conclusion of his leadership. That's why I think he's open to ideas. But for us, this is a domestic issue. We welcome participation as long as it's not affecting our sovereignty. So the official role as a facilitator is very good for Thailand.
Yes.
I think the Thai government in the past and this current government stands very clear that we welcome international suggestions, but in the end, this is our own domestic problem. Malaysia is welcome as a facilitator, and we appreciate that.
What's the report on the ground you have got? Because previously, from previous interview, I got information that the older generation and younger generation in the South are on different pages, and that is also a big factor that they cannot sit and talk and cannot really pursue peace process.
Isn't it everywhere? Young and old. My young students think I'm just getting too old for my ideas. I think it's everywhere, but interestingly on the ground, organizations have now formed to include elderly councils as an overall, strategic, and policy level. Young generations are in the area making things happen, and I think they are more organized in the past. I think that's on one hand is a quite interesting and positive development. On the other side of the coin, we need to watch this development carefully, as it brings success and failure to the top. But I think it's normal, and reorganization in the past, to create that, real roles of elder and younger are quite interesting. They are now also, to my understanding, want to develop political role, international role. In this, the connection to international organizations, the adaptation of the international principles are quite interesting. On one hand, they are quite worried about human rights, reputations, and they are also adopting some of the international norms. In the last few years, you see issues like self-determination, cultural identity. All of these need to be looked at, accommodated, and also talk about this. So I think I see it as positive. And I think we need to work together, young and old. I mean,
so you're saying
aren't we all?
So you're saying that even those who are termed as being extremists are not only bent on creating violence, but also now open up to talks, to new ideas, to new possible solution.
13 years have passed in the last hour of conflict. We have lost 7,000 lives and more than 20,000 people injured. If you are 10 years old now, you are 23 years old, you're getting more mature.
You've seen bloodshed, you've seen loss, everything.
You spend 13 years in a bloodshed. You see some real, truths and facts. I think that maturity is very clear. I think, and now we can work on that. A group who now experience and decided that no more violence, at least no more violence that are very difficult to accept. Remember, in the past, soft targets are very, very much under attack. Young mothers, children, school children, people shopping at the supermarket. But now you see that the attempt trying to stay away from that, because that will be condemned by international organizations, because these are innocent people on both sides.
So we have to see the meeting between the two leaders. Do you expect to have them to have joint press conference?
That's what we are told, that there will be a joint press conference, and there will be very interesting joint press conference. There will be something that you two can talk about it for more days to come. I'm not so sure that they will live up to your expectation or not, because the media are very tough to please, but that's what they aim for. A joint press conference that can tell the public that this is a new era. There will be a new expectation and a new tangible results.
Panitan, if there is to be a lesson to be learned from the past series of peace talks that somehow got stalled, right? So what would the lesson be?
It's difficult to tell that, because I'm not part of that talk. I don't know the details of that, but we follow that quite closely on on the outside. I think number one, if we are caught up too much in terms of legal issues or bureaucratic process and mechanisms, we may be delayed for the real understanding, real listening, real concern. I think this issue is very emotional and passionate by many people. It's the land, it's a cultural, it's the life of the people. So if we begin with the real frank talk, legal issues
can come later.
Can come later. I think this is a new beginning. We should move that way, but it's not easy said than done, because in the end we are dealing with legality. We are dealing with paperwork. We are dealing with constitution. We are dealing with laws.
Because there were people who did commit crimes, commit violence. I mean, So that's one big lesson that you think should be learned.
But we iron out some of those already, and now we learn that we need to move beyond. Secondly, we need to communicate more. We need to have a direct communication.
With whom?
With all parties concerned, especially parties that wanted to communicate but yet not liking the current process. So we need to have different ways. I'm not suggesting channels or anything. It's up to the people on the ground. But we need to get message across. Maybe we can use your Facebook. I don't know.
Yes,
the Prime Minister has on Facebook now. You can make use of that.
Surely that would be step forward next week, and we have to take a look very closely. Thank you very much,
Thank you for joining us. Wish you all the best with your endeavor to solve the problem.
And let's follow the meeting between the two leaders quite closely next week, and we will bring more details to you with Thai PBS World. And tonight, let's listen to the song Heroes of Thailand, written by British singer, to thank all the international teams coming to Thailand for the rescue mission of the 13 wild boar in July this year in Thailand. So that's all from Thai PBS World right now.
I'll give you that. Okay, thank you very much.
And seeing you next Thursday. สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีครับคุณนาย สวัสดีครับ
เหตุการณ์ที่ทำหลวงเจียงไฮ้ได้กลายเป็นประวัติศาสตร์ต่างคนต่างชาติและทหารไทยร่วมใจช่วยทีมฟุตบอลออกเดินทางจากบ้านข้ามน้ำข้ามทะเลจับมือสิ่งภัยด้วยกันบ่กลัวดินฟ้าศรัทธาบ่หวั่นมั่นใจในพลังความดี You're a heroes, our hearts are in your hands. You're a heroes, legends of Thailand. You're a heroes, heroes. You're a heroes, 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 heroes. กี่วันกี่คืนยังสู้ยิบตายังบ่เคยขึ้นท้อเสียก่อนสิ่งชีวิตแค่ไหนก็ขอสู้ต่อขอเพียงทุกคนปลอดภัยหมู่เฮาอยากมอบเพลงนี้ให้คุณตอบแทนบุญคุณยิ่งใหญ่เด็กๆปิ๊กบ้านซาบซึ้งหัวใจสักวันเฮาคงได้ทดแทน You're a heroes, our hearts are in your hands. You're a heroes, legends of Thailand. You're a heroes, heroes. You're a heroes,